Good evening. As this recording begins, there is nothing you need to do and nothing you need to focus on. This is simply a quiet moment set aside for rest. Tonight's audio is a gentle, science-based narration meant to remain in the background. You do not need to listen closely. You do not need to follow every word. If your attention drifts away at any point, that is completely fine. You may already be tired, or you may simply be lying down, waiting for your body to settle. Either way, there is no expectation here. This is not a lesson, and it is not a task. It is just a slow, steady voice, moving at an even pace, designed to accompany the natural process of resting. You can let the words pass by, the same way you might notice distant sounds in a room, without trying to interpret them. There is no need to remember anything that is said. If sleep arrives quickly, you are welcome to let it happen. If it takes time, that is also perfectly fine. This recording does not require you to stay awake. You may find it helpful to adjust your position slightly, allowing your body to feel supported by whatever surface you are resting on. Notice the simple contact points: where your back meets the bed, where your head is supported, where your hands rest. There is no need to change your breathing, no need to slow it down or control it. Just allow it to move on its own, in whatever rhythm feels natural right now. This is a calm space. Nothing unexpected will happen here. The pace will remain steady, and the tone will stay gentle throughout. As the minutes pass, the narration will continue quietly, without demanding attention. You are free to drift in and out of awareness. You are free to sleep. For now, simply remain where you are. Let the sound stay in the background and allow your body to settle in its own time. As you remain here, you may begin to notice the simple weight of your body. Not as something to adjust or correct, but just as a quiet presence. The way your body rests where it is supported. The way it naturally settles when there is no need to hold itself upright. There is no need to change your position unless something feels uncomfortable. And even then, there is no hurry. You can allow small movements to happen slowly, or not at all. Your body already knows how to rest. It does this every night, without instruction. You may become aware of your breathing, not because you are trying to notice it, but simply because it is there. The gentle movement of air, the quiet rhythm that continues on its own. There is no need to deepen it, no need to slow it down. Just let it move as it always does. If your breath feels shallow, that is fine. If it feels slow, that is also fine. There is nothing to fix. As the breath moves, the body gradually follows. Muscles that were holding on may begin to release, not all at once, but in small, uneven ways. This does not need to happen everywhere. Even a slight softening is enough. You might notice areas that feel heavier than others. The weight of your shoulders, the quiet pressure at the back of your head, the way your legs rest without effort. These sensations do not require attention. They can simply be present, without being named or examined. Around you, there may be distant sounds, perhaps something faint and familiar, or perhaps very little at all. There is no need to identify these sounds. They do not need to be judged as pleasant or unpleasant. They can remain part of the background, unnoticed, just as the narration itself can remain in the background. If thoughts appear, that is natural. They do not need to be followed. They can pass through without needing a response. The body does not need the mind to solve anything right now. It only needs time and stillness. As the minutes continue, the overall pace remains slow and predictable. Nothing will suddenly change. There will be no request for effort and no moment where attention is required. This is simply a gradual settling, the kind that happens when the environment remains quiet and the body recognizes that it is safe to rest. You can allow this process to unfold on its own. There is nothing you need to add to it, nothing you need to take away. Just remain as you are, letting the sound stay nearby and allowing the body to continue doing what it already knows how to do. As your body continues to rest in its own way, the surrounding environment remains quietly present. Even when you are not paying attention to it, the world around you is never completely silent. There are always subtle patterns of sound, some close, some distant, existing without asking to be noticed. The brain is accustomed to this. It does not require silence in order to rest. Instead, it continuously sorts what it hears, placing most sounds into the background, where they no longer require active processing. This happens automatically, without effort. Much of the time, you are not aware of this sorting at all. You do not consciously decide which sounds matter and which do not. The brain does this quietly, moment by moment, allowing attention to remain unfocused when there is no reason to stay alert. Over time, scientists have learned that sound is not only something we hear, it is also part of the environment the nervous system responds to, even when we are resting. Some sounds signal change or unpredictability. Others remain steady, blending into the background in a way that requires very little mental energy. When the brain encounters sound patterns that do not demand interpretation, it tends to reduce its level of active monitoring. There is less need to anticipate what will happen next, less need to remain alert. This does not mean the brain turns off. It simply shifts into a quieter mode of operation, one that allows rest to occur more easily. Throughout human history, people have always lived within layers of sound. Wind moving through open spaces, distant movement, soft, repeating patterns that did not require immediate response. These sounds were not something to focus on. They were simply part of the background of daily life. Modern environments are different in many ways, but the brain still responds to sound in familiar patterns. It continues to recognize when a sound can be safely placed in the background and when attention is needed. Researchers studying sound perception often describe this as a form of filtering. Not a conscious filter, but a natural one, shaped by experience and by the way the auditory system is organized. Certain types of sound tend to pass through this filter more easily than others. They are neither completely uniform nor sharply changing. They exist in gentle variation, without sudden interruptions. Because of this, the brain does not attempt to analyze them in detail. It does not try to extract meaning or anticipate outcomes. They remain present, but unimportant. Over time, this allows the nervous system to remain steady without being pulled toward heightened awareness. In everyday life, you may already be familiar with this experience. Moments when sound is present, but attention drifts away from it naturally. Moments when awareness becomes softer, less defined. As scientists have continued to study how the brain responds to different sound environments, They have observed that these background patterns play a role in how easily the mind settles. This does not happen instantly, and it does not happen the same way for everyone. But in general, when sound remains predictable and unobtrusive, the brain tends to relax its need for control. In the next part of this narration, the focus will gently rest on one category of sound that has been studied in this way, not as something to analyze closely, but as an example of how the brain interacts with its environment. There is no need to listen for it, no need to identify it when it appears. For now, it is enough to remain where you are, allowing the environment and the sound of this narration to stay in the background while the body continues to rest. As the narration continues, sound remains present, but without asking for attention. From a scientific perspective, this is not accidental. The human auditory system is designed to operate continuously, even when awareness is low. Unlike vision, which often requires directed focus, hearing remains active in the background at all times. The brain receives sound information whether or not you are consciously listening. Most of this information is not brought into awareness. Instead, it is evaluated quietly, sorted into categories that determine whether a response is necessary. Neuroscientists often describe this process as automatic filtering. Not a single mechanism, but a layered system that reduces the need for constant attention. Sounds that signal danger, novelty, or sudden change tend to move forward in awareness. Sounds that remain steady and familiar tend to fade into the background. This distinction is important for rest. When sound does not demand interpretation, the brain reduces its monitoring activity. There is less need to predict what will happen next, less need to remain prepared for immediate action. Over time, this allows overall neural activity to settle into a more stable pattern. Water sounds, in many cases, fall into this background category. They are rarely perfectly repetitive, but they are also not sharply unpredictable. They change gradually, with variations that remain within a narrow range. Because of this, the brain does not attempt to track them closely. From what researchers understand, the auditory cortex responds to these sounds without escalating alertness. They are processed, but not prioritized. This does not mean the brain becomes inactive. It simply means that fewer resources are allocated to sound analysis. Attention is not pulled outward. Instead, internal processes, including those related to rest, are allowed to continue without interruption. In studies of sound perception, this type of auditory input is often described as non-salient. Not because it is unimportant, but because it does not signal the need for action. When sound remains non-salient, the nervous system tends to remain balanced. Heart rate and breathing are less likely to be disrupted by sudden auditory changes. The body is not prompted to shift into readiness. This relationship between sound and physiological state is subtle. It unfolds gradually, without a clear starting point. Over time, as sound continues without interruption or surprise, the brain learns that it can safely remain in a reduced state of monitoring. This does not guarantee sleep, but it does reduce one of the many small signals that can interfere with rest. As this process continues, sound remains present but unremarkable. It does not require effort. It does not require response. It simply exists, alongside the quiet activity of a resting brain. As the brain continues to place sound in the background, another characteristic quietly becomes relevant. Not all sounds are treated the same way. Some repeat too precisely in patterns that are rigid and mechanical. Others change too abruptly, drawing attention through sudden contrast. Water sounds tend to exist between these two extremes. From a scientific point of view, they are structured but not fixed. They contain variation, but within limits that remain familiar. This balance allows the brain to recognize the sound as ongoing, without needing to track each change. In neuroscience, predictability does not mean exact repetition. It means that change occurs within an expected range. When sound follows this kind of pattern, the brain does not need to stay engaged. It does not have to anticipate sharp shifts or prepare for sudden events. As a result, monitoring activity can gradually decrease. This reduction is not something you consciously notice. It happens quietly, beneath awareness. Researchers studying auditory perception have observed that when sound variation remains smooth and continuous, the brain shows less response to individual changes. Neural activity becomes more evenly distributed over time, rather than spiking in response to novelty. Water sounds often fit this profile. A wave does not arrive exactly the same way each time, but its behavior follows a familiar rhythm. Rain does not strike each surface identically, but the overall pattern remains stable. Because of this, the brain does not attempt to predict precise details. Instead, it recognizes that nothing urgent is occurring. This has subtle effects on attention. Rather than being pulled outward, awareness becomes less defined. The mind does not need to keep checking the environment. In this state, mental activity tends to soften. Thoughts may continue, but they are less likely to organize themselves around external input. This does not require effort. It does not require intention. The auditory system simply continues to process sound in a way that does not interfere with rest. Importantly, this process is not the same for everyone. Different people respond to sound in different ways, depending on experience and context. What remains consistent, however, is that sound which avoids both rigid repetition and sudden change is less likely to trigger heightened alertness. Over time, this allows the nervous system to remain steady. There is no signal to prepare for action, no reason to increase vigilance. The sound remains present, but it does not demand anything in return. As this pattern continues, the brain remains free to shift toward quieter internal activity. Sound does not disappear. It simply becomes part of the background of rest. As sound continues without demanding attention, the nervous system responds in subtle ways. The body maintains a balance between different modes of activity. Some support alertness and readiness. Others support rest and recovery. This balance shifts continuously throughout the day and night, without conscious control. Researchers studying the nervous system have observed that sound environments can influence this balance, even when a person is not actively listening. When sound remains steady and unobtrusive, the body is less likely to interpret the environment as requiring immediate response. In these conditions, physiological signals tend to remain stable. Heart rate does not increase suddenly. Breathing remains even, without abrupt changes. This does not mean that sound directly causes relaxation. Rather, it removes one of the many small factors that can interfere with rest. When the nervous system does not need to prepare for action, it can remain in a quieter state of regulation. There is less need to maintain readiness, less need to scan for change. Water sounds often contribute to this environment of stability. They do not arrive as sharp signals. They do not demand immediate interpretation. Instead, They remain present in a way that allows the nervous system to stay balanced. From what is currently understood, this balance supports the body's natural ability to transition into rest. It does not force the process. It simply does not interrupt it. As sound continues without disruption, the nervous system gradually adapts. The absence of sudden auditory changes allows regulatory processes to continue without interference. This adaptation happens over time. It is not a switch that flips. It is a gradual adjustment. In this state, the body does not receive signals that require heightened awareness. Muscle tone can soften. Internal rhythms can continue at their own pace. It is important to note that this response is not universal. Some individuals may find certain sounds distracting or uncomfortable, depending on personal experience and context. However, when water sounds are experienced as neutral or familiar, they are less likely to provoke physiological alertness. As researchers continue to study the relationship between sound and bodily regulation, they emphasize that these effects are modest and cumulative. No single sound determines rest or wakefulness on its own. Instead, sound becomes part of a broader environment that either supports or interferes with rest. When sound remains predictable and non-intrusive, it tends to support the body's existing tendency toward rest, rather than working against it. As the body continues to respond to sound without needing to stay alert, researchers sometimes look toward longer patterns of experience for context. Rather than focusing on a single moment, they examine how the brain learns which environments are safe enough to allow rest. This learning does not happen consciously. It develops gradually through repeated exposure over time. Throughout much of human history, people lived in environments where water was a constant presence. Rivers, rain, and distant shorelines formed part of the soundscape of daily life. These sounds were not signals of immediate danger. They were simply part of the surrounding environment. Because of this, some researchers suggest that the brain may learn to associate certain sound patterns with relative safety, not as a fixed instinct, but as a pattern reinforced through experience. It is important to be clear here. There is no single sound that universally signals safety to all people. The brain does not contain a specific response for water sounds alone. Instead, familiarity plays a role. When a sound has been present repeatedly without negative consequence, the nervous system becomes less likely to treat it as important. Over time, this reduces the need for monitoring. Water sounds often fall into this category for many people. They are commonly encountered without requiring action. They do not usually precede sudden events. Because of this, the brain may gradually learn that these sounds do not require vigilance. This does not mean that water sounds cause rest. They do not directly produce sleep. They simply do not interfere with it. From a scientific perspective, this is best understood as an absence of disruption rather than the presence of an active calming signal. The brain remains capable of responding if needed. It does not shut down. It simply reduces unnecessary alertness when the environment remains stable. Modern research emphasizes that these associations are shaped by individual history. Personal experiences, cultural context, and current conditions all influence how sound is interpreted. For some, water sounds may feel familiar and neutral. For others, they may carry different associations. What remains consistent is that sounds which are learned to be non-threatening tend to be processed with less urgency. As sound continues without interruption, the nervous system is free to maintain balance. It does not need to prepare for change. It does not need to anticipate action. In this way, sound becomes part of the background of rest, present but unimportant. As these patterns continue, sound remains present without becoming central. There is no single moment where the brain decides to rest, no clear signal that marks a transition. Instead, rest emerges gradually as fewer interruptions accumulate. Water sounds, when they remain consistent and unobtrusive, often fit into this process without drawing attention to themselves. They do not instruct the body to relax. They do not tell the brain what to do. They simply continue. From what is currently understood, this continuity matters more than any specific quality of sound. When sound does not change abruptly, the nervous system does not need to adjust. It does not need to respond. Over time, this allows internal processes to proceed without interference. The brain continues to monitor the environment, but at a lower level. Awareness becomes less defined. Thoughts may still appear, but they are less likely to organize around external input. This is not the absence of activity. It is a shift in emphasis. Sound remains part of the environment, but it no longer stands out. It becomes something the brain can safely ignore. Researchers often describe this as a reduction in salience, not because the sound disappears, but because it no longer signals relevance. In this state, the body is not asked to prepare for action. There is no reason to increase vigilance. Internal rhythms are allowed to continue at their own pace. This does not guarantee sleep. Sleep cannot be forced. But when sound remains steady and non-intrusive, it removes one of the many small demands placed on the nervous system. As this removal continues, rest becomes more accessible. Not because something has been added, but because something has been taken away. The sound does not guide the process. It does not lead. It simply remains unchanged, allowing the body and mind to do what they naturally do when there is nothing else required of them. As the narration continues beyond this point, the pace will remain the same. No new ideas will be introduced. The words will continue to move gently, without direction. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to remember them. Sound will remain in the background, and the body will continue to rest in whatever way feels natural. As the narration continues, the ideas remain familiar. Nothing new is being introduced. There is no additional information to hold on to. The relationship between sound and rest does not need further explanation. It can remain simple. Sound is present. The body responds or does not respond. Either way is acceptable. When sound stays steady and unremarkable, the brain has little reason to remain alert. There is no need to listen closely, no need to decide whether something matters. This allows attention to soften. The mind does not have to follow each word. It can drift, returning only when it happens naturally. In this state, sound becomes part of the background of experience. It does not stand apart from the environment. It blends in. Water sounds, when they are present, often function in this way. They are neither completely uniform nor sharply changing. They remain within a range that feels familiar. Because of this, the brain does not treat them as signals. It does not assign importance. It does not ask for interpretation. Instead, awareness becomes less focused. Thoughts may appear and fade without forming a clear direction. This does not require effort. It does not require intention. The body continues to regulate itself quietly. Breathing continues. Internal rhythms continue. There is no need to check whether rest is happening. There is no point at which you need to decide if this is working. Rest is not something to achieve. It is something that unfolds when there is nothing else demanding attention. As the sound remains unchanged, the nervous system remains free to settle. There is no urgency, no requirement to respond. The narration continues at the same pace, the tone does not shift, the environment remains predictable. You may notice moments where awareness becomes faint, moments where time feels less defined. If that happens, there is nothing to do, and if it does not happen, there is also nothing to do. Everything remains as it is. As the words continue, there is less reason to hold on to them. They do not need to form a complete picture. They do not need to be remembered. Sound remains present in the same way it has throughout this recording. Steady, unhurried, without change. The body does not need to respond to it. The mind does not need to follow it. Everything that has already been said can remain in the background without being revisited. When sound stays consistent, the nervous system does not receive new information. There is nothing to evaluate, nothing to prepare for. This allows awareness to remain open and unfocused. You may notice that thoughts become less connected to one another. They may appear briefly, then fade, without forming a clear direction. This is not something to observe closely. It does not need attention. The environment remains the same. The sound remains the same. The pace remains the same. Because nothing is changing, there is nothing to track. Breathing continues on its own, without instruction. The body remains supported, without effort. There is no need to check whether rest is deepening. There is no moment where you need to decide if sleep is approaching. Rest does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, or it does not arrive at all, and both are acceptable. The words continue to pass by at an even pace. They do not ask to be followed. They do not require understanding. If awareness drifts away, it can stay there. If it returns briefly, it can pass again. Nothing here requires response. Sound remains part of the background. The body remains at rest. The mind is free to become less defined. As this gentle repetition continues, the overall experience becomes simpler. There is less to hold, less to process. Only the steady presence of sound and the quiet continuation of rest. As the narration continues, there is less need for words to carry meaning. They can remain as sound, moving at a steady pace without forming clear ideas. There is nothing left to explain. The environment stays quiet and unchanged. The sound does not shift. The rhythm remains the same. Breathing continues without being guided. The body remains supported without effort. There is no need to follow the voice as it moves. No need to notice where one sentence ends and another begins. Words may blur together. Pauses may feel longer. Time may feel less distinct. This is not something to notice closely. It can happen without awareness. The body does not need instruction now. It already knows how to remain still. It already knows how to rest. Sound continues in the background without urgency. It does not change direction. It does not signal anything new. If sleep arrives, it can arrive quietly. If it does not, there is no problem. Nothing here depends on an outcome. The mind does not need to hold on to anything that has been said. There is nothing to remember, nothing to complete. As the minutes pass, the narration remains gentle and predictable. There will be no sudden changes, No shifts in tone or pace. The sound can stay where it is, nearby but unimportant. You may notice that awareness becomes faint at times, or that it moves in and out without a clear pattern. There is no reason to follow it. The body continues to rest in whatever way feels natural. Breathing continues on its own. The environment remains unchanged. There is no ending to reach. The voice will continue at the same quiet pace, allowing rest to unfold without interruption. Nothing more is required.